Well, he inspired the thanks to Marshall, I'm sober, doing what I enjoy doing line just by being one of my friends who was willing to take the steps to help me get sober. You know, before I even decided to stop drinking, he just told me one day, like we were just sitting up at the office at his studio chilling, and he was just like, "Yo, you know, if you ever feel like you got a problem, you know, you can call me, right?" So I was just like, "What?" Because we weren't even talking about that. He was like, "Yeah, if you ever feel like you got a problem, you can call me." And I was like, "What kind of problem?" He was like, "You know, just with drinking." I was like, "Oh shit, okay, thank you, man. Like I appreciate that." And it kind of bothered me for a while because I didn't know if he was saying that he felt like I had a problem or what was he saying, you know. So I felt like that was cool of him as a friend to try to take that step with me, you know. So when I did decide to get sober, I had what I call a spiritual awakening in the hotel room in New York. I just woke up and I just felt woke. You know what I mean? Like really woke. You know, like every day I have been waking up still sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I felt woke. I felt like, yo, it's time to stop. If I don't, it's like this overwhelming feeling. If I don't act on this feeling now, I don't think I'm gonna survive it. You know what I mean? Like I was telling myself that, and it was like, so when I called Marshall and we were talking and I was telling him, and he was just like, "Listen, man, I want you to understand something." He was like, "I want you to know that you are the strongest right now that you've ever been." He said, "A lot of people, like us addicts, like we won't admit that we're powerless over something because we don't want to feel weak. But when you finally get to the point where you're willing to admit it, you can finally take those steps to get yourself better. You're strong." So, you know, when I went home, he put me in this hospital with this doctor. I got some of the best sleep, you know, that I got in a long time. And, you know, he linked me up with my therapist, who's still my therapist today and my sponsor today. And I haven't had a drink since. That was almost 6 years ago. So when I say thank you to Marshall for that, you know, he took those steps to really help me. Back in the day, everybody didn't know about Eminem back then on a worldwide scale. But in Detroit, in the local hip hop scene, everybody knew who he was. You know, he was kind of looked at as like one of the killers lyrically on the local underground scene in Detroit. You know, just like at the hip hop shop, there were a few like open mics that we all used to frequent, and the same little small community, we all go to the same open mics, and we would all see each other at the same open mics. And every time Marshall touched the mic, it was a blessing. Every time Proof touched the mic, it was a blessing. Every time Elzai touched the mic, it was a blessing. You know what I mean? So, there was I said a line on stage, a cappella on stage, that got his attention. So when we met each other that night, he was like, "Yo, man, you said," you know what I'm saying? So it was like.
Do you remember what the line was?
Unfortunately, yes, I do. I said I'm iller than standing in front of a gorilla holding a banana. It's terrible. So for whatever reason, we both thought that was dope back then. You know what I'm saying? So you know, so we just start talking. We just start talking on the phone, and we got in the studio together eventually, soon after. And we work with each other. Sorry, I'm yawning, man. My sleep pattern is all off. So we basically got in the studio and we worked. We did that song, Bad Meets Evil. And when he signed his deal with Dre, he played Dre all of the songs that he had. And that was the only song that was featuring somebody that Dre wanted to keep for the album. And that's how I ended up being on the album, on the Slim Shady LP. As far as the chances of another Bad Meets Evil album, the chances are pretty good. I mean, he's stronger than ever. I'm stronger than ever. You know, it's just a time thing. It's very, very hard to be able to dictate what the time is going to do. You know, he's really, really busy doing, you know, a ton of shows and recording and shit like that. And I'm busy recording, trying to balance recording and traveling and everything. It's just one of those things where we just have to end up in the studio together for a certain amount of time. And if that can happen, you know, it's always a possibility.